What is Boolean? Boolean have only two values, either that is true or false. If I consider object-oriented programming language, class and object is also the features of object-oriented programming language. When I don't want to change the value, in that situation, I'll go with the constants. When I use equal symbol, that represents I'm assigning some values to the variable. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction to PHP. I'm your Revati ma'am, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my last session, I started with the Introduction to PHP and features of PHP. So dear student, in this semester, we are going to study new programming language. That's nothing but this new scripting language, that is PHP. So what kind of scripting language? Server-side scripting language. So where we are going to run the script on the server. Okay. So this programming language is very important. Why? Suppose if I want to develop dynamic website, then I will use PHP programming language. Anyway, dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to start with the actual concepts of PHP. In the sense, if I want to start learning PHP, what are the things I want to learn? That is nothing but the types that is data types in PHP. How I can able to create the variables in PHP and operators in PHP. So dear student, anyway, let's start with the topic, that is PHP variables. In the sense what? How we can able to define the variables in PHP. Anyway, dear student, we already learned what is variable in C program or in Java or in Python. Okay, fine. But what is variable? Variables are nothing but the name given to the memory location. And in PHP, how I can able to define the variable? So dear student, please make a note of syntax here, because the syntax of the PHP is entirely different from your C program or Java or .NET. So suppose if I want to define variables, then I'll start with the dollar. Okay, so I want to start with the $sign. At the same time, I'm going to write the variable name, say it as A. Okay, a variable can have, in the sense what? While defining the variable, I can able to use short names, or I can go with the descriptive name. So if I consider this example, A is the variable name, it's a short name. Instead of that, if I write number, so it is descriptive name. Now, okay, let's discuss the rules to follow while defining the variables. So the variable can start with the sign, $sign, followed by the variable name. While defining the variable name, I can able to use uppercase letter as well as lowercase letter along with the underscore. So the variable name starts with the letter or the underscore. So while defining variable, I can start with the letter or I can start with $_A. This is valid one. Fine. If I consider another rule, okay, the variable cannot start with the number. If I write $1A, it is invalid. Okay, it is wrong. I can able to write $A1. So this one valid. A variable name can only contain, so while defining the variable name, I can able to use alphabets. That is nothing but the uppercase alphabet, lowercase alphabet, as well as digit 0 to 9 along with the symbol called underscore. Variable names are case sensitive. Suppose in my program, while defining the variable, if I use small letter a, okay, throughout my PHP script, I want to use small letter a. I cannot able to use capital letter A. So, variable names are case sensitive, okay. So, see here, $age and capital letter age are two different variables. Now, see here, PHP is type-safe programming language. Okay, fine. See here, if I consider C, Java or other programming language, before going to use the variable, what I want to do? I want to define the type of the variable. There's nothing but the data type along with the variable name. But here, see here, what I'm doing? I am creating the variable. I'm not going to specify the type of the variable. For example, it is integer or float or character or string. So I'm not going to write anything. So what I will do here, I'll start with the $x, okay, and I'm going to assign the value 5. Now, okay, this x is of type what? Integer. Now, if I consider $y, I'm assigning the value John. Okay, so now what type of y it is? String. The type of the y here is string. Okay, fine. Now, if I consider data types. Okay, so what is data type? To know what kind of value I'm using in my PHP script. I can able to use integer, I can able to use float, I can able to use string, or I can able to use character. So variables can capable to store different types of data. So variables can store data of different types. Okay, so variables can able to store different kinds of data types. If I consider PHP, PHP supports the following data types. Anyway, let's see which are the data types supported by the PHP. That is string, integer, float. Float is nothing but the floating point number. It's also called by the name double. At the same time, Boolean, array, object, null. These are the different types of data types supported by the PHP. Now, if I consider string, so what is string? String is nothing but the sequence or group of character. Okay, so a string is a group of character like hello world. So it's a collection of character. Okay. How I can able to write the string? That is within the double quote or within the single quote. In PHP, to define the string, I can use either single quote or I can able to use double quote. Okay, fine. See here, $x and I have the message hello world. Now, okay, how I'm writing? Within the double quote. Okay, fine. If I consider x, x is also of the type string, even y is also of the type string. But what's the difference? Here I'm using the double quote and here I'm enclosing the message within the single quote. Now, I want to display the x value. Okay, so I'm calling the method var underscore dump. So what I want to get the output? I want to get the output hello world. At the same time, in the next line, what I want to do? I want to display my second output. Okay, in the next line to display the output, okay, I'm using the BR. So what is BR? It's a tag, break. Bring the output to the next line. So this is the way I can able to use the string in PHP. Now, if I consider integer, okay, we are familiar with numbers, right? Number system. So integer in the sense what? It's a complete number. It's a non-decimal number. For example, 10, it's a whole number. It's a complete number. There is no decimal point. This kind of numbers are called what? Integer. Okay, fine. Rules for integer. If I consider integer, I can have the binary, I can have the decimal, even I can have the octal. So an integer must have at least one digit. So while defining the integer, I must have at least one digit. So integer must not have any fractional point. That's nothing but the decimal point. An integer can be either negative or it may be positive. So I can write -10 or I can able to write +10. Next, integer can be specified in terms of decimal. Decimal in the sense what? It is represented as base 10, hexadecimal, it is nothing but the base 16, octal, it's nothing but the base 8, binary is nothing but the base 2. Now let's see the example here. So see here, what is this? It's a number. Okay, what kind of number? It is decimal number. Why I tell it is decimal number? Because see, I'm having the number 9. Okay, in my number, I have the number called 9. So decimal in the sense what? 0 to 9. So dear student, to display the number on the screen, what I'm using here, that is var_dump. It's a method, okay, supported by the PHP. Now, if I want to use floating point data type, then I have the float. So what is float? It's a fractional value. A float or floating point number is a number with decimal point or number in exponential form. Now, see here, if I consider this example, 10.365. Fine. If I want to display the value, how I'm going to display? That is by calling the function or method var_dump and I'm passing the value and I'm passing the variable that is $x. So what's my variable name? $x. So to define the variable, what I use, which sign? It is $sign. So how I'm passing? $x. Now I have the Boolean. So what is Boolean? Boolean have only two values, either that is true or false. Okay, I'm going to use Boolean in my conditional statement. So what are the two possible value a Boolean can hold? That is nothing but the true or false. So I'll take one variable called x and I'm assigning the Boolean value true. Now I'm going to display the value. Okay, I'm going to display the result. Fine. Now, if I consider object, in PHP, object is also treated as data type. So what is object? Object is nothing but the instance or function of the class. Okay, so class and objects are the two important concepts of object-oriented programming language. I already discussed that PHP falls under object-oriented programming language. In the sense what? PHP supports all the features of object-oriented programming language. And if I consider object-oriented programming language, class and object is also the features of object-oriented programming language. So, what is a class? Class is nothing but the template. Okay, what is class? Class is nothing but the template. Okay, if I consider real-time example, okay, anyway, you know I'm taking the class. Okay, I'm taking the class. So, the classroom itself your class. Okay, the classroom itself your class. Okay, fine. If I consider object, what are the object I can have? I can have the mic. I can have the pen. I can have the board. So, these are the object. So, a class is a template for object and an object is an instance of the class. So, instance in the sense what? Functions or functionalities of the class. Okay, fine. Now, let me to consider the example here. What is my class name? My car is my class name. How to create the object? By using new. So, it's a keyword or you can call by the name operator, new operator. Okay, then car. So, red and Volvo. So, the color of the car is red and car name is Volvo. Okay, fine. Now, I'm going to display the object. So, what's my output? Red Volvo. So, what kind of car? Volvo. And what is the color of the car? That is red. Okay, fine. Now, I have one more important data type, null. A null is a special data type which can have only one value, that is null. Null in the sense what? Empty. So, a variable of data type null is a variable that has no value to assign. When I don't want to assign no value to the variable, then I'll go with the null. So, see here, I'm defining the variable, okay, $x and I'm assigning some text to x. Now, at the same time, what I want to do, I want to assign null value to x. So, I'm assigning null to x and when I display the x value, what is the value of the x? It is null. In the sense what? No value. Okay, I don't want to assign any value. For that, I'm using null data type. Now, if I consider constant. So, what is constant? Constants are fixed value. When I don't want to change the value frequently, what I will do, I'll go with the constant. So, constants are like variables except that once they are defined, they cannot be changed or unchanged. If I write $x equal to 10, okay, so x here, x holds the value 10. And what about 10? It's a constant value, right? So, when I don't want to change the value, in that situation, I'll go with the constants. A constant is an identifier, that is name for a simple value. And the value cannot be changed during the script. A valid constant name starts with the, in the sense what? While defining the constant name, okay, I can able to use uppercase letter, lowercase letter or digit 0 to 9 along with the underscore. Okay, and no sign, in the sense what? While defining the constant, I'm not going to use dollar sign. See here, if I write dollar, what's the meaning? It is variable. Okay, so when I write dollar, what is the meaning? It is variable. But while defining the constant, I'm not going to use the dollar sign. Now, okay, let me to explain the syntax. To define the constant, I'm going to use the method called define. So what is my method name here? It is define. And what are the argument or what are the parameter I am passing here? See, name, value, case sensitive. 3 parameters are going to pass. Now, name. What is the name? Okay, name of the constant. So, what is the name? Name of the constant. Then value. So, what is value? Specifies the value of the constant. What value I want to assign to the constant variable. So, that is defined in my value. Then what about case sensitive? Specifies whether the constant name should be case insensitive. Okay, case insensitive. So what is case insensitive? Case insensitive in the sense what? Okay, I can able to use either uppercase or lowercase. Okay, so that's nothing but the case insensitive. Okay, fine. Now let me to consider the example here. See, here, okay, this is the part to illustrate constant. Okay, so what is the method I use? That is define. Then what I must have? Constant name. So what is my constant name? That is greeting is my constant name. And what is my constant here? That is welcome to. Okay, that is welcome to. Okay, and you can able to include any message. Okay, welcome to Vidhyaashram or welcome to PHP class. This is the way I can able to define the constant. Okay, fine. Now, okay, I have one more important concept, that is operators. So what is operators? Operators are nothing but the special, some kind of symbols. Okay, operators are nothing but the symbols. So these operators are used to perform some specific operations. Operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So I can able to add, for example, okay, 10 plus 20. So I can have the value or $X plus $Y. So I can able to use the variables. Now, if I consider PHP operators, operators are divided into, okay, these are the different types of operators supported by the PHP, that is arithmetic operator, assignment operator, comparison operator, increment or decrement operator, logical operator, string operator, and array operator. Okay, fine. Let's see arithmetic operator. To perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay, even for module, I'll use arithmetic operator. Okay, so plus addition, minus subtraction. See the example here. Okay, I'm going to have the variable X and I'm going to have the variable Y, and what I'm doing here? I'm adding 2 variables. Here I'm subtracting 2 variables. Here I'm multiplying 2 variables. Here I'm trying to find the, okay, I'm trying to find the quotient. Okay, so that's nothing but the division. When I use division operator, what's my output? Quotient. When I want remainder as my output, then I'll go with the modulus. To get remainder as your output, okay, what I'm using modulus operator. So how to use assignment operator? Which symbol I'm using? That nothing but the equal symbol. So when I use equal symbol, that represents I'm assigning some values to the variable. So I have some value in my Y and I'm going to store or assign that to X. So the left hand, that is left operand, gets set of value of the expression on the right hand. Then if I have, okay, X equal to X plus Y, I can able to write X plus or plus equal to y. Similarly, for minus symbol, that is for subtraction, and multiplication, I can have the division, even I can have the modulus. This is the way I can able to use assignment operators in my PHP code. Now, see here, I have the comparison operator. So, dear student, we already discussed these topics in our C program or in our Java or in our .NET. So, there it is termed as relational operator. Okay, relational operator. But here, the same operator is called by the name comparison operator. So, the PHP comparison operators are used to compare two value. So, to know the relationship, okay, here we are using the comparison operator. Now, see, if both the values are same, to check, I'm going to have equal. Okay, fine. If I want to check both the values are not equal, so I have not equal operator. I want to check, okay, see, this is also used, even this one is also used for not equal. So here, see, both, either I can go with the first option, that is the not equal, or this symbol I can able to use. Now, if I want to check greater than, I have the greater than symbol. Okay, if I want to check the given number is lesser, then I'm having the less than operator. Even I can have the greater than or equal to, even I can have the less than or equal to. So, comparison operators are mainly used to check the relationship, okay, between the two values. Now, I have one more operator in PHP, that is increment or decrement operator. So, if I want to increment the value, I'm using plus plus. Okay, if I want to decrement the value, I'm using minus minus. So, if I use 2 times plus symbol increment, if I use 2 times minus symbol, then it is decrement. Now, okay, if I consider increment or decrement operator, I have the pre-increment and I have the post-increment. So, this is my pre-increment and this is my post-increment. This one is my pre-decrement, okay, and this one is my post-decrement. So, suppose if I go with the pre-increment, what's going to happen? Increments x by 1, then returns the x. So, it's going to increment by 1. Okay. So, that is pre-increment. So, initially, okay, it's going to increment the value. Okay. Then, it's going to return the value. Then, what about post-increment? First, it returns the value. Then, okay, it increments the x value. This is the way I can able to use increment or decrement operator in my PHP. Now, I have one more important operator, that is nothing but the string operator. So, what is string? String is nothing but the collection of character or group of character. Now, okay, in PHP, I have dot, okay, I have dot and I have dot equal. See here, suppose if I want to concatenate, okay, if I want to concatenate two string, concatenation in the sense what? Combining two string, then, okay, what I will do? I'll go with the $string1 dot $string2. At the same time, okay, I have concatenation as well as assignment, that is nothing but the dot equal. So, if I go with the dot equal, think that I have second string, okay, along with second string, if I want to append the first string, then I'll go with the dot equal. Okay, fine. Let me to explain this concept. Let me to take the example. Think that I have VA, okay, it's my one string, and I have FGC. So, that is Vidhyaashram first grade college. Okay, fine. Suppose if I go with dot, I'll get the output VAFGC when I use dot. Okay, fine. If I go with the dot equal, so I'll get FGC VA. So this is dot equal, and if I use dot, I'm getting this output, and if I use dot equal, I'm getting this output. Okay, fine. Anyway, dear student, in my today's session, I started with what is operator. Along with that, I also covered the topics like how to define a variable, how to use a variable, and I also completed the concept called PHP constants. Anyway, dear student, let's meet in the next session with one more unit. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.